What can you glean from the exchange, and this is kind of going over it, kind of glossing over it, but the exchange between the president and the Saudis, where he's asking them to produce more oil, and they basically tell him, we're kind of at our wits' end. You know, we're at the uppermost levels of our production, and we can't really help you.
Right. Well, this is the same movie we saw in January. The president went to Saudi Arabia and had, as far as I can tell, the same conversation. And the outcome should not have been a surprise. Just a few days before the president arrived in Saudi Arabia, the Saudi oil minister, Ali Naimi, had given a speech in Korea outlining, once again, Saudi oil policy, which is to meet the demands of the market. And the Saudis have been taking the position that, and Ali Naimi restated it, that the problem here is not a shortage of crude oil. The problem is the distribution system, a shortage of refining capacity, and the function of the speculative market on the New York Mercantile Exchange and elsewhere in the financial markets, who've driven up the price for reasons that are not based on absolute supply-demand balance. So it's interesting to see, if you look at the Washington Times this morning, which is generally supportive of the administration, the headline says, Saudis increase oil production. The New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post reported the exact opposite, which is that the president had been rebuffed by the Saudis. So what happened was the Saudis said, yeah, the other day we added 300,000 barrels a day to our production, a very modest increase, not because you asked us to, but because our customers asked us to. And that way, they're allowed to maintain this veneer of politeness, which is important to their relationship with the United States, without actually doing anything. You know, the Saudis have so much money coming in at the current price of oil. It's really probably not in their interest to increase the price of oil, to increase the production of oil.
We're talking with Thomas Lippman, adjunct scholar at the Middle East Institute, about the U.S.-Saudi Arabian relations, and we want to get you involved in the conversation. The number is 202-737-0002 for Democrats, Republicans 202-737-0001, Independents 202-628-0205. Outside the U.S., 202-628-0184. Talk to us about the OPEC connection, especially with Saudi Arabia. And would it ever be in their best interest to break off, go solo on this, and provide oil based on their interests alone as the Saudis, as opposed to the interests of OPEC in general?
You know, that's a very interesting question. And I suppose, as a theoretical matter, you could make an economic or political case that it would be in Saudi Arabia's interest to do that. But as a political matter, it's highly unlikely that they would even consider it. Among other things, Saudi Arabia was a founding member of OPEC. And the very existence of OPEC was a dramatic post-colonial assertion of independence among the member states, including Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, the founding states of OPEC. The fact is that an awful lot of the world's oil, including most of ours, comes from places, or a lot of ours, come from places that are not members of OPEC. Canada, Mexico, and other countries in Africa, West Africa.
Nigeria?
Nigeria is a member of OPEC.
Okay.
But I don't believe Angola is, for example. Chevron's been producing oil in Angola for decades. OPEC, besides its function as a market controller, which some people refer to it as a cartel, has a political and historic function. Some countries have left OPEC, but it's highly unlikely that the Saudis would do that. Even within the OPEC framework, countries occasionally make individual deals outside the OPEC marketing rules, as the Saudis and others have done from time to time.
Help me understand the difference in the two headlines. In the Financial Times weekend edition, they have Saudis bow to oil pressure. In the Washington Times, they have Saudis increase oil production. How is one event seen so much differently on two sides of the ocean?
Well, if you look at the Wall Street Journal, it says the Saudis didn't budge at all. First of all, the Financial Times editorial, which says Saudis bow to oil pressure, I would dispute that just on the face of history. The one thing the Saudis never do is bow to pressure. I mean, that's a matter of principle with them. You have a fact here. The fact is the Saudis reported yesterday, in time with Bush's visit, President Bush's visit, that they had increased their daily output by about 300,000 barrels. Remember, they were already producing 9.1 million barrels a day. They've already committed themselves to raise production capacity to 12.5 million. They did that at Bush's ranch in 2005. So yes, it's true. They're producing more oil this week than they were last week. So you can say the Saudis increase oil production. It's true, or let's put it this way. This is one of those cases where the facts and the truth are not the same thing.